It's a Tuesday night, nothing wild. You've been to a mate's place for dinner, one beer with the meal, hours ago, and now you're driving the last 10 minutes home. Up ahead, orange lights, a line of cars slowing down, a booze bus parked across the road. You're not worried. You know exactly what you had and exactly when you had it. You wind the window down, you're calm, you're cooperative, because you've got nothing to hide. An officer leans toward your window, torch in hand, and he says something that changes the whole shape of the next 5 minutes. Not blow into this, not yet. He says it almost gently. I can smell alcohol on your breath. And then the follow-up, said like he's just making conversation. So, how many have you had tonight? And here's the thing almost nobody clocks in that moment. You are going to be breath tested either way. That was already happening before he said a word about smell. So that sentence isn't unlocking anything. It isn't a key to a door that was otherwise shut. It's doing something else entirely, something far more useful to the officer than any door. It's an invitation to start talking before the machine has said a single thing. And the honest, decent instinct in almost every innocent driver is to take that invitation. Oh, just the one with dinner hours ago, I'm fine. You want to explain yourself immediately because you know you're not a problem and you want him to know it too. That instinct, the one to explain, to clarify, to get your version on the record first, is exactly the thing I want to spend the next few minutes on. Because it is very often the single costliest thing an innocent driver does at a roadside stop in this country. Not the drinking, the talking. I'm Ray Mercer. I've spent years in and around Australian courtrooms and police stations, watching how these 5 minutes actually play out for real people, not in theory. This isn't about beating the system, it's about not handing the system extra ammunition against yourself when you've done absolutely nothing wrong. Quick note, this is general legal education for Australia, not legal advice. So let's talk about why good, honest, sober enough people fall into this every single week. It isn't stupidity. It's decency working against them. When someone says, I can smell alcohol, an innocent person's brain panics, quietly, and it reaches for the fastest way to make that panic go away, which is proof. Explain the timeline, explain the one beer, explain the 4 hours since. Because surely if he understands the full picture, he'll see straight away there's no problem here. That feels like the safe move. It feels like cooperation. It feels like exactly what a person with nothing to hide would do. But notice what's actually happening while you're explaining. You are not being asked to prove your innocence at the roadside. There is no innocence to prove yet, because there is no result yet. What you're actually doing is building a transcript. Every word you say about how many drinks, what time, what you ate, whether you felt anything, is being written down or captured on a body-worn camera, sitting there ready to be used later. Regardless of what the breath analysis eventually says. If your reading comes back clean, fine, nothing happens to it. But if it comes back anywhere near the line, or if there's ever a dispute about the result, that transcript is not neutral anymore. It becomes the thing the officer's notebook and the prosecution's case are built around, sitting right next to the machine's number, filling in every gap the machine can't answer on its own. And the cruel part is this. Nervous, honest over-explaining almost always makes that transcript worse than the truth deserves, because nervous people guess at times, round numbers up and down, contradict themselves slightly. Not because they're lying, but because nobody speaks with perfect precision under a torch at 10 at night with a booze bus behind them. Now let's get into the actual law, because this is where the popular idea of the smell is what lets them test you falls apart completely, and where Australia is genuinely different from a lot of what you might have seen online from other countries. In every state and territory in this country, police do not need to smell anything, see anything, or suspect anything at all before they can require you to blow into a breathalyzer. This is called random breath testing, RBT, and it is one of the broadest powers police hold anywhere in Australian law. In New South Wales, it comes from the Road Transport Act of 2013. In Victoria, it's the Road Safety Act of 1986. In Queensland, the Transport Operations Road Use Management Act of 1995. Every state has its own version, and the wording differs slightly place to place, but the core idea is identical everywhere. If you are driving or you've very recently been driving, an officer can require a breath sample from you for no reason at all. Not suspicion, not bad driving, not a smell, nothing. Just the fact that you were behind the wheel. So sit with that for a second, because it changes everything about how you should read that moment at the window. When an officer says, "I can smell alcohol on your breath," he is not telling you something that grants him a new power. He already had the power to test you before he opened his mouth. The comment about smell does something else. It's doing psychological work, not legal work. It's designed, whether the individual officer thinks about it consciously or not, to make you feel like you're already caught, so that you'll start volunteering the details that fill in whatever the machine alone can't tell him. Whether you had a big night or a legal one, the trap is the same. Here's how the actual process runs, because knowing the shape of it takes an enormous amount of the fear out of it. First, there's the preliminary test, the handheld unit at the roadside or the booze bus. This one only ever gives an indication, pass or fail. It is not, on its own, what you get convicted on. If it comes back clear, you're generally free to go on your way. If it comes back positive, or if you refuse it, you will be arrested, and you'll be taken for the second, more accurate test. The evidentiary breath analysis, and that second reading is the one that actually matters in court. In New South Wales, that second test has to happen within 2 hours of your arrest, or the reading generally can't be used against you. Check the specifics for where you are. Now, 3 things people get badly wrong, and each one costs someone their license every single week in this country. The first is thinking you can refuse the test itself while you sort things out, get calm, or wait for advice. You cannot. Refusing, or failing to give a proper sample, is treated in most states as being just as serious as the worst drink driving reading on the books. It carries its own fine, its own disqualification, and a criminal record. Refusing doesn't protect you, it adds a second, harsher charge. The second mistake, and this one genuinely surprises people, is believing you can hold the test off until you've spoken to a lawyer. You can't. Asking to call a solicitor before you blow is a reasonable instinct, but in Australian law, it does not entitle you to delay the test. Continuing to wait for that call instead of providing a sample can itself be treated as a refusal. There is no version of this stop where "I want to speak to my lawyer first" buys you time at the roadside. You comply with the test fully, and you sort out legal advice afterward. And the third mistake is the one this whole video is really about. Talking, answering, "How many have you had?" explaining the timeline, describing your evening, apologizing in advance, filling the silence because it feels awkward. None of that is required of you. And none of it changes whether you get tested, because you were always getting tested. All it does is create a second body of evidence sitting alongside the machine's number, one made entirely of your own words, at the exact moment you're least equipped to choose them carefully. So here's the line I want you to actually hold on to, the one that separates what you must do from what you never have to do. You must stop when you're signaled to. You must provide your license so they can confirm your name and address. And you must comply fully with the breath test itself. Blowing when asked, exactly as instructed, no hesitation, no half-hearted attempt, because a weak or broken sample is treated the same as a flat refusal. That's the must list, and it's short, and you do every part of it properly and without complaint. But you never have to explain what you drank. You never have to say when you drank it. You never have to describe your evening, your dinner, your mood, or your driving. That's the never list, and it's every bit as real as the first one. So here is the sentence, the one to actually learn, because it does every job at once without a single moment of friction. When the officer says he can smell alcohol and asks how many you've had, you say it warmly, without any edge at all. "Yes, of course, officer. Happy to do the test right now. I'd just rather not get into what I've had or when, but here's my license." That's the whole thing. Notice what it does. "Yes, of course. Happy to do the test right now" removes any possibility this reads as obstruction, because you are agreeing instantly to the one thing you're legally required to do. "I'd rather not get into what I've had or when" politely closes the conversation that was never compulsory in the first place without a flicker of rudeness, and handing over your license satisfies the only other thing on the must list. You've given him everything the law requires and nothing it doesn't. If he presses, and sometimes a friendly officer will press gently, just out of habit, "Come on, it's just a chat, how many was it?" You don't get defensive and you don't get chatty. You simply repeat the same shape, calm as the first time. "I'm happy to blow right now, I just won't get into the specifics of my night, thanks." And if the roadside test does come back positive, the sentence barely changes at all, and that consistency is exactly the point. You go with the officer to the station or the bus without a fight, because physically resisting a lawful arrest is a separate and much bigger problem. You comply fully with the second test, the evidentiary one, and you keep holding that same line about not narrating your evening all the way through, warmly and without drama. In several states, you also have the option to request an independent blood test alongside the police one, which some people choose simply so there are two separate readings on record. Whether that's worth doing depends on your state and your circumstances. So that's a genuine conversation for a solicitor afterward, not something to negotiate at the roadside. One more honest thing before we wrap up. If your reading does come back over the limit, in New South Wales and increasingly elsewhere, police can suspend your license immediately, on the spot, before you've even seen a courtroom, regardless of exactly how high the reading was. That's not a punishment for talking too much or too little. That's simply the law responding to the number itself. Nothing in this video changes that number, and nothing in this video is designed to. This isn't a trick to beat a genuine reading. It's about making sure that if you're well under or done nothing wrong, you don't accidentally hand over a stack of your own nervous words. So let's bring the whole thing together, because underneath the nerves, it really is simple. You will be breath tested whether an officer mentions smelling alcohol or not, without any suspicion required at all. So that sentence about smell isn't a key to a new power. It's an invitation to talk, and you don't have to accept it. Comply completely, properly, and immediately with the test itself, every single time. No hesitation and no half measures. Hand over your license without a second thought, and politely, warmly, leave the story of your evening exactly where it belongs, unsaid. No refusing, no waiting for a lawyer to delay things, and no explaining. Those are the three that trip people up, and now you know all three. If this helped you, send it to the one person in your life who always feels like they need to explain themselves to be polite, and subscribe. Because this is what I do here every week, taking the moments that catch good people off guard and making them simple, so that if it's ever you at that window with a torch in your face, you already know exactly where the line sits. I'm Ray Mercer. Know the line and keep it simple.